Hey guys, this is Rainwolf Convention Video.
Hey guys, Kyrdo Silverheart here.
Is it work? Yep, it is Laria. There we go.
We haven't had that problem with you for a while.
Let's go. We just give it what the
So,
people need.
So we're back this week talking episode 10 of 86.
and I really think this is probably going to be a short one, and a lot of this didn't really make sense, but let's just go into it.
Yeah, I have some ideas about why this episode exists.
So, we start off with a nice quiet scene, some birds, flowers, them walking through this field, an abandoned juggernaut. Kind of looked bigger than a regular juggernaut, too. The one that was like at the tree.
Yeah, slightly.
Or
I
older.
wasn't
It
paying attention.
could have been possibly an older model as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, according to just the visualization here, we see vine growth and deterioration and everything to the model. Actually, you know what? It honestly makes me wonder if that's even a juggernaut. That makes me wonder if that was an older Legion model.
I didn't think it was a juggernaut when I saw it because it didn't look like a juggernaut to me.
Or maybe actually pre-Legion, one of the combat mechs for Giad.
True. So everyone's enjoying themselves. They're sitting in this little hut, and then Shin snaps. Right there, he notices, like, cut it. But everybody notices it, and they just turn the fire out, and they just sit there. And what sucks, it's raining. So they just lost their only heat source during this whole rain right now.
Yeah, and we see off in the distance, it looks like an entire scout patrol of Legion troops moving along the canyon border right outside their area.
Yeah. And by the way they react, definitely after the opening, is that it's pretty much their scouting route. They'll come through again. It's just they don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, there's not really a lot to talk about here. It's just a very little. And why don't you go into your little thought while I try to get a spot to start into?
Okay, well, so I'll just throw out some info. I did some date checking in reference to the timeline of this series so far. So it looks like Spearhead was formed on January 4th, 2148. That's when they all had their big, inaugural photo taken. Everybody gets to meet up at the camp for the first time. The unit is officially formed January 4th. By September 28th, the unit is whittled down to these last 5 members, and they have the battle with Ray, Shin's brother. That's when they finally have their final confrontation, and they break away. So, granted, these 86 have all been in service for 4 to 5 years, but this particular unit has only been together since January. I mean, they've been together for basically, 8-9 months?
Roughly, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting just when you stop and look at it, how quick this entire thing has happened. But so the battle with Shin, between Shin and his brother, takes place the 28th of September. It is now the 13th of October. So we've had several weeks, and they even call it out during a section of dialogue that it's been over half a month since they started doing their special recon.
If that's what you want to call this.
Right. Which, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, they're literally scouting out to see what Legion is still out there, what's a safe place for them to escape to, I would assume. Where are they going to exactly find their freedom?
And the thing is, I don't even really think it's like a lot of this dialogue doesn't really fit from what was said in the last episode near the end of that they were hunting the shepherds, pretty much.
Well, see, I don't think I've had some time to think about that. I don't think they're really hunting Legion and hunting shepherds at this time. I think the only one that they were officially tracking down and hunting was Shin's brother, because they even call it out with Lena, during one of those final conversations before they deploy. Shin even says, when a shepherd is taken down, it causes discord and chaos throughout the Legion, particularly the unit, for a hot minute. It takes them a good bit of time to recover and re-strategize, reorganize, and re-assault, or re-engage in assault. So I think they basically just made their window of opportunity, which, if you think of it in those lines, plays completely out with what we see now. Shin completed his life mission of putting his brother to rest. They created a temporary hole in the offense, and they made their escape. They are no longer on the front lines of combat. They are actually slipping more or less into the unknown territories and around the sidelines to a degree.
Yeah, because they do bring up the conversation of, since they can't take that bridge to cross over the water, it's like to take the juggernauts. But the problem is there's so many holes and cracks in the armor that they would pretty much drown themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the thought of trying to find things to fill those cracks is a possibility, and that this is what causes them to go into the town. But also, Shin makes the comment of wanting to see what it was like here during this whatever lifespan or time they had while everyone was around.
Yeah, so now we get to see a dilapidated version of what life used to be like in the Empire. Because what I think was kind of glossed over is the fact of San Magnolia was part of the Empire. Like, overarching, it was a republic inside the Empire who got into a disagreement with the Empire and basically tried to pull a Brexit.
Yeah.
Is what it seems like. And Empire wasn't going with that, initiated this giant war. Empire decides to go AI. AI overthrows Empire and starts spreading their chaos to the Republic and surrounding regions. But as we find out in this dialogue throughout this episode, because as Wolf said, there's really no way to kind of just timeline this whole thing.
No.
You can kind of basically sum it up into they're being tracked, they're bobbing and weaving around scout patrols to stay as hidden as possible and keep pushing themselves further and further throughout safe zones as possible.
Yeah, and they even bring up that to even go north, it's like, is there even anything past this point? They're pretty much in enemy territory at the moment.
Yeah, and there's a discussion between Shid and Raiden talking about other
Countries.
republics, countries, domains, kingdoms, whatever you want to call them. Aren't there other territories, that we could escape to? And he's like, I honestly don't know. He was like, I've heard that there were.
Yeah, but they've seen nobody come to help.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, you got a fascist country.
Yeah, and goes back to the discussion we had last week. They'll do what they need to protect their own borders, but the primary target is San Magnolia. So why are we going to risk our own people to go help a bunch of douche canoes?
Yeah, unless they start coming across their border, that's when they'll react. But till then, they're probably just going to be passive.
Right. They'll bolster their defenses if need be. But it's also been heard that the Legion haven't branched out their reach to those territories yet.
From what knowledge we have, yeah.
They are primarily focused on San Magnolia at this time.
And it kind of gives up a weird thing because I actually did a little digging as well. There was kind of like a fan-made map that came up.
I remember you showing that.
Kind of puts them in perspective of where they're at now from what information. And this is up to volume 8, I think is what it was. No, up to 7th volume.
Okay.
From what the post said, from what I found. It puts San Magnolia right to the east. Then there's I'm not sure if there's really... Well, we do hear about the Republic of Glat, I think is one of the countries we actually heard of. Yeah, Giad, that we heard about a little bit at some point to the west, and that's about it.
From what I've come to understand, okay, so according to my research, this map that you shared with us in our off-air chat is updated to volume 7, correct?
Yes, from what the post said.
Which it looks to me like this is post layout of what we're dealing with in the anime.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because we have the Republic of San Magnolia, but around, its direct competitor was the Giadian Empire.
Yep. So this makes sense of from where the attack is coming from and why no one is helped. They're pretty much
right.
They are dead center of this whole Finasco. Because the other two countries from the north and the south, they have a huge mountain range.
Yeah, to the north, you've got the Dragon Corpse mountain range, it looks like. I'm not sure if that extends to the mountain range of the south.
Yeah.
Because it's not named in this image we see. But it really makes sense that they're basically just these two entities in this valley. I mean, okay, let's call it. This is red versus blue stuck in Blood Gulch.
Right? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Pretty.
I mean, let's
That
face
pretty
it,
much
we're all a
sums it
bunch of
up.
nerds. This is pretty much the easiest. This is the easiest definition we're going to give you without the actual visual representation here. This is red versus blue. They are stuck in Blood Gulch, and they're fighting over who's going to get the bigger base.
Yeah. Let's go back into the episode real quick. So before we get too much into other information, as they're going through the town, Shin and Rayan are talking. Then they reach this tunnel. Shin stands there for a moment and he brings up, it's like, I've been hearing their voices for a long time. There's nothing really going to stop me from hearing them. But then he starts taking a step into the tunnel to make him, and then Rain grabs him.
And I love this line. Where the hell you going, kid? It's like, dude, he is the most single BA person in this squad, and you're going to question him?
Well,
Plus, he's your CO?
with the way shit has been acting since they have taken care of his brother, I can see why Raiden had made this comment when he grabbed Shin's hand.
Oh, no, I see it myself. It's just at the same time, like anybody else that would look at that moment, like in a bubble, would be like, seriously, you're going to question him?
Yeah. He's pretty much taking the place of his older brother.
Yeah.
When they walk away, he's like, Roger. Then they just walk. And then it comes over to the scene of the girls. They're all talking, taking up. Looks like Fido had found a heater, an old heater.
It was an old boiler, and it still had fuel in it that was good after, what did they say, like 6 or 9 years?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, wow, I wish, we had fuel reserves that lasted that long.
Agree. What were they using? And this is where Karen or Kite, I still
Kurenai.
Or
Karina,
yeah. Karina pretty much finds out why Shin doesn't see her in any light.
Right. Oh.
Adorable little scene. Between her and Anju.
Anju throws it out there. It's like, and this is the reason you're always treated like a little sister.
Poor Karina. Poor baby. Oh.
For all, if we all got it, and these are the comments. I was like, really? I was like, we can get the bath together, be efficient and hygienic. It's like, you may be saying that, Liberty.
It'd be more efficient if we all just took a bath together. And wouldn't it be more hypoallergenic if we all just properly scrubbed each other too? I'm like, girl, hold up.
It's like, you're not that young. You're the age frame that's kind of.
She is an awkward, angry little ball of sunshine.
Yeah. This for me went from, can I get a hot tub, to cringe.
Yeah. Ray even says, like, Shin, why do you think Karen never matured? And Shin replies to him too. It's like, I have no idea.
It's like somebody just, I don't know. It's like somebody still hasn't hit puberty. I don't know.
Yeah, even though she's been through war and back.
Right.
You would have thought she would have hit that a lot sooner.
You are a trained killing machine, but God, if you were not the most like sweet, naive, innocent little thing on the face of the planet.
Outside of battle.
Yeah.
She used up all of her quota for the battle, and then she never got anything for any other developmental area of her life.
The best way to sum this up is like Deki from My Hero Academia when he goes full.
Yes. Oh, God.
When he uses full 1 million voltage.
Gotta love awkward anime characters.
Yes. So now they're seeing that Shin's out. He's at they've seen that they're actually seeing him sleep so peacefully.
This entire episode it's character development and growth, because we've seen them as the hardened BA fighters.
Yeah.
In the field, and we've seen their repertoire in the camp, and we've seen their interaction with their handler. But these are the last 5 sole survivors of Spearhead Squadron, and they're free.
At first, I didn't really see this episode of really being needed, but then as we're going through it and actually talking a little bit more about it, it kind of puts it into a transition phase from what the hardened life they lived, from war to a daily basis, and then now and with having somebody controlling them pretty much, now to having no one controlling them. They still have to fight, obviously, but it's of their own free will.
Yeah, they still have to use all that training and knowledge and skill to keep themselves alive. But at least now we're defending ourselves. We're living for ourselves.
Yep.
We're taking what we know and what we grew up in, and we're bettering ourselves, or trying to at least. And honestly, if this episode doesn't make somebody like want to stop and just smell the roses and appreciate the life that they have right now, then I'm not exactly sure what will, because you're
Mhm.
looking at these just from childhood battle born killing machines trying to cope with their freedom and survive in a world that doesn't even think they exist, or if they do exist, they're hated.
Yeah. And with the time frame they actually stay here as well, it's also a possibility because of what Shin said in the past to Lena, head to the east.
Hmm.
So there's also a possibility, even though they're still planning, but also trying to get themselves together before they move forward. There also the possibility that they're also waiting for Lena in the mix of it. But once they're ready, if she's not there, they're probably just going to leave.
Yeah, I don't know, because their statement of it's been over half a month. I mean, we obviously we see on the timeline here, they started this whole thing around, let's see, what was it? Yeah, so they had the big final fight with Shin's brothers, Legion Shepherd,
Mhm.
on the 28th of September, for August, November, or August, October.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 months.
Yeah. But you also got to think the situation, Lena, for her to leave is going to be a lot harder, definitely with what she pulled, if she
Yeah.
didn't get captured afterwards.
Right, and the fact that we have no idea what's happened to Lena up until now
Yeah.
really makes you wonder. But I
Yeah.
mean, they call it out. They're like, we have no comms, we have no GPS, we don't know
Mhm.
where we are, we don't know what we're doing other than surviving and pushing forward to either our freedom or our death.
Mhm. And now, as we get closer to the end of this, the whole scene with Shin, because they wake up and Shin is not there, and they notice his rifle's gone as well. And then Raiden's also is like, I know where he went. And then they see Shin, and then they see Shin walking towards. Raiden looks over, and there's a Legion right there, and the
It's a
look,
shepherd.
yeah,
It's a shepherd. And I thought, oh snap, did his brother's mech find them? Like, was there some remnant left that got that thing back up and running enough to
no.
catch up to them?
But from the way he's explaining things, it's been calling since yesterday, and it's been slowly moving. So it's more, and then he also says there's a possibility of 86 like us.
Hmm.
So this is probably a shepherd that was taken out or close. Well, whoever took it out or caused a serious injury like they did not finish the job.
Yeah. I mean, and it could, I mean, obviously, if we're looking at the 86 aspect of it,
Yeah.
then it could have been something like what happened to Shin's brother or
Mhm.
any of the others. This was somebody who was, I guess you could say, top of their class, like
Yeah.
Ray was, who they were just like, hey, you're a BA, you're going to work for us now, and you're going to command this troop. But whatever happened, and like whatever conflict this was that was able to take out a shepherd, yeah, why wouldn't you go back and make sure you
And
finish
where
the
did this
job?
shepherd originate from? Which district?
Not
Because
even which district, which campaign.
yeah,
Like, how long has this thing been?
suffering pretty much.
Yeah,
In this case.
how long has it been limping along? Was it the 86 squad before the Spearhead Squadron before this one? Was it when the war first started? It could have been any time.
Yeah. And this is where you see him being the Undertaker he is. It turns out to a mammoth skeleton or an elephant skeleton. They start making the comments like, "This is the world we're in. Are we just all gonna die?" And it gets a little dark. And I also, for a second, I also thought this was the end of the episode because of the way it transitioned out.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh wait, is it over already?"
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, man, has it really been like 28 minutes already? Or 24, 26, whatever it is?
And then we get the thank you credit card. Then it flips over to a perspective we really haven't seen before, and it's Fido's perspective of
Right.
things.
Oh, Fido.
I love this entire sequence.
I do too. It's nice to see the perspective that has come, and also to see how, like, angles we haven't seen throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
it was an interesting take, and also definitely because like the moment when first, not Laughing Fox, but
Daya.
yeah, when they were that day when they finished their meal, she said she'd take care of the cleanup.
Oh, Andrew, yeah. When Andrew said she was fine. And we see from Fido's perspective her go out back and just collapse
Yeah.
from grief. So I actually watched this episode with Lyria tonight.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, we did.
And at the end of the show, I unmuted my microphone and I was just like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
And I'm just
remuted.
like, no. Yeah, I'm just like, no.
Because again, this has been an episode to show just the hellacious character development
Yeah.
for all of these people that we've come to know and care about since episode 1. You know, we got reminded of the friends we've lost
Yeah.
throughout the series, like Daya and Kershblut, and we got to see the ramifications of what they deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah. Definitely when they're being formed as a unit. When they're, it's like pretty much a mugshot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
But Shin put that dude in his place.
That was beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That scene was great. So after every member of Spearhead got their photo taken, they would kick a rock or a can or something at the mural of Saint Magnolia. And Shin picks up a bolt that has a nut, towards the middle of it and hurls it so hard that he scares the shit out of the general or lieutenant, whatever, major, I don't care. Scares the shit out of this guy, and he falls on his ass thinking that he's getting ready to get slugged, and he flips it so hard it puts a hole in the concrete wall right in the middle of Saint Magnolia's forehead.
Mhm.
I'm like, how BA do you have to be to do that?
Then it flips over to the mechanic in the shop talking to Fido. Then you see a person we actually don't have a name for writing on the board when it says 179 days till end of
Yeah,
service.
the guy with the dreads. I didn't catch his name, and I haven't had a chance to go back and cross
think
check
they
the
really-
character wiki.
I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it.
Then we see all the moments of Kaide flipping out. Then you got the girls or another group when they're having a meal. It's like, which one's better? And then Fido just knocks the other food away.
Yeah, this entire montage, it's shown from Fido's perspective, but it shows just how close Fido became with the entire unit.
And he pretty much was a person.
Yeah, he had cognitive reasoning. Even though he was a bit of a derp sometimes, he had understanding. He showed empathy and things like that. And like a faithful puppy, he stuck by Shin through everything.
Yeah.
And I loved earlier in the episode when Raiden and Shin were having the conversation about Ray, his brother.
Yeah.
And he was like, so have you carved your brother's name yet? And he's like, yeah, I did. He's like, when did you do that? He goes, Fido knows. And the last real segment that we get to see is Shin carving the Doulahan piece. And I actually wrote down the timestamp. It was 10/1/21/48.
And he says, thank
So
you.
this
Fido."
was
You see
yeah.
his
So this
smile.
was 12 days before this 12 episodes or 12 days before this episode started.
And what
And yeah,
really
go ahead.
gets me there is that then it goes and does this giant flashback. Then you see the current Shin, but then you see Fido in a very, very sad shape. October 30th.
crack,
Yep.
yeah, the crack
Yeah.
that Fido had near his lens is much more pronounced.
There's fire around him, and the date that shows in front of him is October 30th, stellar year 2148. So something
And-
happens very soon.
Yeah, and the final moments that we see is Fido explode.
Either explode
Fido.
or a shell either hit right next to him or hit him directly.
No,
the title
Fido,
card- Here we go.
no.
It's sad for Fido. Definitely to see what we saw and then now seeing
Yeah,
him pretty much getting blown up. It's like, really? You're going to pull that card on us?
You
Yeah, this is
basically
John Wick when you killed the fucking dog.
exactly. You've turned he's the puppy, and
Shin
now
is
you
now John
go
Wick.
Yes.
exactly.
And
Gonna avenge
if
his
he's
puppy.
not, then I'm going to be even more sad. But going back to what I was saying earlier about I think I understand why this episode is in here is because Lyria and I discussed this off mic before the show tonight that we couldn't really find this scene in the light novel. And we don't know if like we just spazzed and just overlooked
Couldn't
it
find it.
somewhere later on, but we could not find it. But the only thing I could find was a reference note.
That said it was from the epilogue.
Yeah, it was from the epilogue of Volume 1, and it was a reference to the death of Fido.
So
I'm
this
like,
is
okay,
the
so
epilogue chapter.
I think we're going into the epilogue of Volume 1 if we keep it on par comparison with the light novel. I
That
mean,
would
would you
make
agree,
sense.
Leary?
We have to go back from the epilogue to do like the big because we already know there's going to be a big battle scene and that happens before the epilogue. So
Yeah.
they did the epilogue. They did part of the epilogue first, and then they're going to go back. But they've done that a lot. They've done a lot of stuff not in the same order as the light novel.
It's a light novel, so and when it comes to animation or filming, they sometimes moving some things into other places causes things to make more sense than more confusion. Or and sometimes it makes more confusion than making sense.
There's a lot of scenes that they've had in the novel that they had it basically from what I'm seeing they've had to cut stuff back to make the anime not as long, and so that's why they're moving stuff around, because if they didn't move it around there would be a lot more stuff that we would have to go into.
Yeah, that makes sense too. But I think
Yeah, I mean, reorganizing a chronology when you're transitioning from print to animation or print to film, it's going to happen. I mean, we could throw out almost any number of book-based visual representations.
And I think right now they've done a very good job in even from what content they have cut and also from what movement they have done. It's kind of made it blend. I haven't read or anything, but it makes it more, even for a person that hasn't read the light novel or the manga, it makes it feel like it's blending smoothly. It's not like there's no confusion points. Not like how they did Aragon.
Oh,
right.
No, just
if you that was the best example I could think of right there.
just shush.
I mean, I'll say this, I'm not a heavy reader, I'm really not. But if I was watching 86 outside of the purpose of doing this podcast, and I got to tonight's episode and saw this filler-like episode, and then saw what happens with Fido, and just seeing the massive degree of destruction that's around that event, it would literally make me want to either go online or go down to a bookstore or something and find this series in print to figure out what the hell happened, because I sure as hell don't want to wait a week to find out.
Yeah, either don't want to wait a week or want it in more detail than what the anime is going to give you.
Right. I mean, the editing choices that they have made throughout this series, they have been suspenseful, they have been dramatic, they have been funny, they have been heartwarming, heart-destroying. They have been some of the best editing choices I've seen in an anime in quite some time.
I agree. I think right now, with the information we have from this episode, that is a good point to stop.
Yes.
Yep.
Before we go into a rabbit hole into discussing things that we probably should discuss later. Because we don't know what the last episode of this season is going to bring us exactly. We have a tip of it, but we're not sure exactly. But remember, everyone, I know we haven't been doing live streams as much lately. Schedules and a whole number of other personal matters have come up with some of us moving, some of us life throwing things at you, work schedules and all. We hope to get back to live streaming at some point. It may not be until our next series or after 86, because we have, convention video, that is, as a big surprise for you in a couple weeks. So I'm Rainwolf.
This is Kirido Silverheart.
And this is Lyria.
And until next time.
Bye.